I got one quick question.
Okay, Mr. President.
They're located on 1394. I know they're in the town right away, but aren't the poles supposed to be at the edge of the, you know, a permit from Mass DOT on this?
We haven't, no. If we're gonna cross over the state streets with the primary table, then we get permission from the state. If we would be installing a new pole or something like that, we're not installing a new pole. The conduit's already gonna be there, cleaned by the customer, so we're going to be putting it in here.
So just everything's going to be on private property. Everything's on private property?
The conduit, the transformer's gonna be on private property. The conduit is going from the pole for about maybe 3 or 4 feet, is gonna be in the town of Tewksbury.
One question.
Okay. If everyone's satisfied with that information, I'd ask for a motion relative to the petition.
So moved.
Second. Okay, so now is your motion to approve it?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so we have a motion made to approve the petition as presented and second by Mr. Wentworth. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Chair votes aye, that would be unanimous. Mr. Aguilar, thank you for your patience and for visiting with us again tonight. Okay, that's going to move us to our third agenda item, which actually is a 3-part discussion. I'm going to turn it over to the town manager. This is a continuation of our budget process, and the town manager tonight, like he did a few weeks ago with the general fund, is going to make a presentation concerning the water enterprise fund proposed fiscal year 17 budget, the proposed fiscal year 17 budget for the sewer enterprise fund, and ultimately the third component will be a discussion of the proposed fiscal year 17 capital improvement plan for the town of Tewksbury. And Mr. Montoya, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but it's my understanding that this is a placeholder presentation. While it's probably 90% or better complete, you're reserving the right in the next couple of weeks to further refine some of the numbers as information comes in. And it's our intention that when we come back here as a board on the 29th of March, our next meeting, we would potentially then vote to recommend approval of the plans that we presented tonight. Is that
That is correct. The presentation is, as you said, it's 95% complete. Our recommendation meeting tomorrow with Munis, our financial software consultants who are walk through some utility billing reports that I'd like to see. So what if I find out any information tomorrow, I'm going to change the recommendations, change the approach to rates. I can adjust that over the next couple of weeks and go to the next meeting. But I'm not sure that will happen. The meeting's more is really to look to next year's process. So unless something comes up tomorrow, this should be complete. But usually the presentation may not be there. Each of the board members may go over it. We haven't had a chance at this time to do that, so over the next couple of weeks after I make this presentation, to review the information, set up some time so I can sit down and go over how I came to these recommendations and the assumptions used. So we still have some work to do in that matter. And as usual, when I go through these presentations, I find mistakes that whether it's the numbers, it's transposed, or missing an extra notes, and it's not going to change. It's changed on the presentation, but on the documents, it's in regard to the capital line. So this is about 100% complete. What has to say? This is some ideas as we had 2 years ago when we set the sewer rates. The board brought forward the idea of moving some money from sewer rates, tax levy, just in time to go through that. $640,000. That type of discussion, that type of input is a book finalized. here a couple weeks ago, and this starts the discussion. So what I want to do is go through a presentation I've made before. Brian gives us works, see any questions you might have on the water or sewer enterprise budgets themselves. And discuss at the end of the meeting. So with that, as mentioned, tonight we're going to review enterprise budgets, for water enterprise budget, sewer enterprise budgets, we want capital, recommendation on water rates, review sewer enterprise capital, and recommendation as to for sewer rates. And then we'll go through the capital improvement plan that's developed for fiscal 2017 through fiscal 2021. This capital improvement plan is generated through requests, detailed requests to submit copies, and this is the budgets in December, and then put into a summary form capital improvement plan, back up to their actual request for detailed justification. The first item I'd like to address is the water enterprise fund. The water enterprise fund is made up of two budgets. It's made up of the water distribution budget and it's made up of the water filtration budget. What is on the screen now in the presentation is the water distribution budget. This is what we would like to refer to everything that happens outside of the plant, so to speak. The water lines, pump stations, things like that. And this is the budget that specifically this is in that area. The major changes in the water distribution budget in regard to salaries. The salaries will increase $191. Major portions of that increase are 2.5% salary increase that was provided to the employees, as well as step increases, longevity changes, any other contractual obligations that are required in the salaries. One of the big changes that is in this salary budget and you'll see throughout the other enterprise budgets has to do with the addition of a new position. The new position is the Assistant DPW Superintendent for Utility. This position will be funded and cost shared through not only the water distribution budget, but also the water filtration budget and the sewer department budget. And the reason for this position is we have our head treatment plant filter operator retiring in a couple of years. When he retires, before he retires, we'd like to have someone on board to learn how the plant's operating, how the department operates. What we also want to do with this position is expand its responsibilities. Now, right now we have water distribution, treatment plant, and sewer. Three separate operations that the superintendent oversees. We would like one person, assistant superintendent, to oversee both. We believe will create more efficiencies in operations, better oversight in operations, and better administration of operations. And this individual will be assistant superintendent of those overseeing those three utility budgets. And at the time the chief operator retires, this person now will just fit into that position to oversee all three. We're not going to add a position once that person retires. We're not going to add someone right now. What we'll do is we'll take someone within the plant, operate that to handle the responsibilities that the chief operator had in regards to the plant, but all the administration, other oversight responsibilities will be this new assistant position. So that's really, I think it's probably the top priority of the superintendent this year, and you'll see this reflected in all the current budgets. We've also handed out a supplement documents of all of the increases that you see throughout the water budget. There's a justification sheet in regard to that. I have copies here for you guys to read. Also in the water budget, I'd like to take one of the HMO position and increase it, upgrade it to an SHMO position. That's essentially taking a heavy motor equipment operator and making it a special heavy motor equipment operator. The big difference between those positions is the technical skills that they have to operate them. So we'd like to upgrade one of those positions. And then finally, $9,782 is in the budget for an individual retiring to be able to seek the buyback notification. The operating budget for water distribution will increase $18,571. The major highlights of that increase, $2,500 for utilities. That's based on the actual cost we're seeing for utilities in that department. Repairs and maintenance increased $2,000, again, based on the average number of waterways that we're seeing in the department. And I'll probably say this a couple of times as we go through the presentation, especially when we go to capital. We had 75 to 80 waterways this past year. That's incredible. How old the system is, how fragile the system is, and the irrigation system. So this is addressing that. Other equipment in the budget is increased to maintenance of the vacuum rodding truck that we have and have been planning to refurbish. And then finally, $8,500 increase in the area of meters. This is going to be used to buy 25 additional meters for new residential and commercial structures as well as secondary meters throughout the town. Next budget under water, the water filtration budget.
Just to stop you for a second, all of those things you just explained, the additional position on a temporary basis until there's a retirement, the operating expenses, the upgrade of HMO to SHMO, all of that in total is an increase year over year of $62,000. Is that correct?
Yes.
Just add on to that question, relative to the assistant superintendent and now the plant operator, when that plant operator eventually retires, is there essentially a change in the total salary impact there? I imagine adding some responsibilities from somebody within the plant won't bring them to the same salary level as the current plant operator. How does that all sort out?
I think they're actually the same.
years.
They're actually the same grade right now. Maybe a minor difference, but they're the same grade as we speak. So it would be the same current position makes. But because the duties will be split, we're comfortable with that position and staying that pay. And then just operate someone with the staff to handle the treatment. Type duties, so maybe increase the pay here to the town.
But once there's a retirement, though, it's if I'm picturing the math correctly, there should actually be a slight decrease in our salary at that point. Is that correct?
Depending on what we do the person that.
Sure.
It should be for a couple of reasons. One, the person retiring benefits can be higher than the person, especially longevity, things like that. So I think you will see that in the show. So the water filtration budget is the water treatment plant budget. Also under the water filtration budget, there is some responsibilities for our water tanks. Our salaries increased $64,448, again $24,027 of that is for the position. The remainder is for increases to salaries, step increases, longevity changes, contract. Also, there's a $3,600 increase for overtime to reflect the actual cost of spending for plant overtime. Under operating, there's an increase of $35,997. Utilities increased $15,000 because we will have, the plant is being renovated or refurbished, new construction added. There's going to be a new aeration facility, like laboratory addition as well as a new equalizing tank. We've added $15,000 for potential increases to utility costs, all that's added. Leases and contracts increased $9,180, mainly because of contracting out backflow survey inspections that we do. We currently have someone doing that. This is just added to that work. All other supplies and expenses increased $12,000. There's a supplement in regard to this. We have brought on a THM online analyzer to monitor water quality. The cost of that is $12,000. This is something that we do a lot of testing in this area, monitoring in this area. And this fund will help us do that better and ensure water quality throughout the system. Residual disposal of sludge, there's no increase next year. We are projected to take our sludge to a new landfill, and we're projecting our cost to increase $3,370. That contract is ending, so we're anticipating a significant cost in that year. So the total cost of the water filtration budget will increase $100,400. I should say, all of these increases are included in the breakdown. When we go to town meeting votes a combined budget for both water filtration and water distribution, doesn't separate the budgets. So if you look at this slide, this is the actual combined budgets, and the total increase for the water enterprise budgets is total is $163,207. There are other items that we need to fund in the budget, enterprise budgets when we go to town meeting. The biggest is debt. Debt for 2017 is going to be $3,190,748. That's an increase of $1,083,931. That's all because of the treatment. So when we look at the rate impact issue for FY 17, all of it is in the treatment. We borrowed $12.5 million for the treatment plant construction. We did borrow all the money that is needed for construction, but first principal and interest payments hit us in 2017. That's why you see the increase. Indirect costs, which are our allocations to various departments for the enterprise funds, increased to $111,640. Good chunk of that increase, $53,000, was now allocating property insurance to the enterprise fund. We've not done that in the past, but we have treated it as a value and as an insurance cost, and we're allocating that to the enterprise funds. Just to give you an idea of the amount of retained earnings we plan to use, in FY 17 we plan to use $263,000. In FY 16 we plan to use $815,000. Currently, the balance of retained earnings before we use any just mentioning is $3.4 million. But as we go along in the presentation, you'll see how we spend it. In regard to capital, which is another component of our enterprise funds, we just went through the operating cost for water enterprise fund. Now, the capital side, over the next 5 years, we have $8.3 million worth of capital that we plan to undertake. A large portion of that is $6.5 million work on the water distribution system, design and improvement. As I mentioned, we had 75 to 80 water breaks this year. We have old asbestos pipe in town, constantly breaks. We have 2-inch pipe in town that needs to be replaced. We have 6-inch pipe in town that needs to be replaced. I'm talking to the superintendent of public works and the town engineer over the past year, spending $10 to $15 million, probably more, on addressing this issue is not out of question. Probably closer to $20 million done. So what you see here in that $6.5 million, over the next few years, we're looking, starting in 2017, to borrow $2 million to replace the water main on Wood Street. And then 2 years, then the next year, we do